Welcome back to another episode of Rob Sports Center, man. As you can see by the title, man, I'm coming at y'all with a Patrick Mahomes video. Now, disclaimer, Kansas City fans, Patrick Mahomes fans, this video is not attacking Patrick Mahomes. Disclaimer, Patrick Mahomes fans and Kansas City fans, this video is not comparing Mahomes to these guys. I'm just trying to give you guys an understanding of where I'm coming from, right? So, everybody's been aware of the NFL Top 100, and the number one player was Tyreek Hill, obviously. So there's been a little uproar on that. People feeling like he shouldn't have he probably shouldn't have been number one. I made a video about that. You can go check that video out if you want to check it out. And if some of you guys are still feeling that way, and y'all like, well, I already seen that video, or y'all like, well, I already put stuff together in my head why he shouldn't have been and why Mahomes. Let me break it down to you. So I was looking at a small portion of Speak. With LaShawn McCoy, Joy Taylor, James Jones, and I forgot the other guy that was with it. It wasn't Aicho, how you pronounce his name that day. But LaShawn McCoy was like, he was talking about, the MVP and stuff like that. It was almost like he said, it's like the quarterbacks win those awards by default. You know what I mean? Like we're not giving credit. Like if you ask me, a player like Christian McCaffrey could be a guy that could be MVP because he do so much, you know what I mean? And he's durable at the same time, you know what I mean? He does so much for his offense, him being him makes the quarterbacks better. But like you say, the quarterbacks normally get all of the praise when things are going right, and sometimes depending on who they is, they get the blame. A lot of times the head coach get the blame. So quarterbacks, they get all the glory when they're winning, and then when things are going bad, everybody else around, especially depending on who the quarterback is, everybody around him is the ones that's in the wrongdoings. You look at Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless, in his mind, Brady could never do no wrong. And not saying that Brady was, that Brady was incompetent, and not saying that Brady wasn't getting the job done. But Brady, just as anybody else, is human. So guess what? He make mistakes, but you don't shield him from the fire just because he's Tom Brady and his accomplishments. Same thing I was saying about Aaron Rodgers. Just somehow miraculously being on the top 100, and he only played one freaking drive. I felt some type of way about that. I made a video about that as well. So this is what I want to break down to you guys real quick. I ain't gonna make this video super long. So I'm finna read from you guys Patrick Mahomes stats, Jared Goff stats, Dak Prescott stats, and Brock Purdy stats from last season. Now, granted, like I said, this is not a comparison. I'm just trying to get you guys to understand where I'm coming from. And once again, I know that last season was the worst offensive season the Chiefs had under the Andy Reid and the Patrick Mahomes era. And that's what makes Patrick Mahomes so much great to me, because he was able to overcome. Look at the team that he had offensively. The defense carried him a lot, but look at the team he had offensively. But he was still able to make those plays when it was needed. You know what I mean? So that just comes down to him being who he is. So like I said, this isn't a knocker. This isn't an attack. I want you guys to actually listen and try to get my perspective of what I'm saying. So from Patrick Mahomes, the year in the 2023 season, Patrick Mahomes had 4,183 passing yards, 27 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, right? Jared Goff had 4,574 passing yards, 30 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. Dak Prescott had 4,516 passing yards, 36 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. Brock Purdy had 4,280 passing yards, 31 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. Now, if you're going statistically, those are three guys that I just thought of off the top of my head before I filmed this video. Those are three guys that's already statistically ahead of Mahomes. You see what I'm saying? So even if Mahomes wasn't the number one spot, obviously there were quarterbacks if we're going based off statistics. That's what I thought that the top 100 was. If you have a guy who had a phenomenal year, regardless if they didn't win the Super Bowl, if you had a quarterback go out there and put up 5,000 plus passing yards, 50-some touchdowns, and maybe 8 interceptions, and a passer rating well over 100, even if they didn't win the Super Bowl, hell, they didn't even make the playoffs, that still says volume because he did what he had to do. You know what I mean? When you're looking at Patrick Mahomes' stats, you understanding, if you look at him over the years, that it really didn't differ. Honestly, you look at the one I'm looking at the most was the 14 interceptions. Now, granted, you got to take into consideration the first game of the season, how many passes was dropped and tipped possibly to defenders. So I'm not saying that all of those was directly on Patrick Mahomes, but you understand there was things around him that was able to stand up when they wasn't having the success. And that's not a knock on him as a quarterback. They just wasn't able to find they wasn't able to find that rhythm early on. You know, like I think Shady McCoy was saying that, you know, they got much better in the playoffs, you know, but throughout the regular season, it was a consistent week to week struggle for them to, you know, to move the ball. So all I'm saying is, though, those are 3 quarterbacks right there alone that could have been ranked statistically over Patrick Mahomes. So my thing is this. Now, granted, if you look at if you look at these guys, right, all these guys' numbers pretty much fluctuate. They're around the same thing. You know what I mean? You got what they all got in common. 4,000 passing yards. What they all got in common. You know, 20-some plus touchdowns. Now you got Goff, Dak, and Purdy had 30s, and Mahomes has 27. You know, but he wasn't that far off. So when you look at the separation between those, it's like it's really not much. Now, if you go look at, I didn't do this, but if you go look at the separation in terms of Tyreek Hill, in terms of receptions, in terms of touchdowns, in terms of yards, in terms of yards after catch, all those type of things, and yards average, I'm pretty sure he's blowing the water out with a lot of his competition. So it's like we got to find ways to, you know, pick up other players because, like he was saying, like you got a lot of guys defensively that don't get MVP awards that could have, you know, got it because of how much they impact the game. Aaron Donald being one of them. You know, obviously J.J. Watt when he was in his prime doing his thing, you know. So we got to make it a more even stretch across the board because a lot of these awards is like it goes to the quarterback when there were other guys that was more than willing and more than deserving of some of these quarterbacks because it does take a team effort. So how many of these great quarterbacks would be having any of these opportunities if it wasn't due to their receivers? If it wasn't due to a specific offensive lineman that's making a way for that to happen, like you got to think about those things, take those things into consideration, you know. So that was just my 2 cents on that. Like I said, man, once again, if you know me, you know I'm a big Mahomes fan. You know, it's my favorite player in the game right now. Big Mahomes fan. So this is not knocking Mahomes, but I just want you guys to kind of look at it from an even perspective. Just because Mahomes is Mahomes doesn't mean that we unanimously give him every award just because of who he is and who he's been. Like we always, like I said about the Aaron Rodgers situation. This is a what have you done for me lately league. So it's like if you got guys that was over him statistically, then that doesn't automatically just because he has, you know, he's been to 4 Super Bowls, 3 Super Bowl rings, 3 Super Bowl MVPs, 2 season MVPs, that he just automatically just goes ahead of those guys. You know what I mean? Because you got guys that's making noise and it's unfair to them to be discredited just because they're not a quarterback. You know what I mean? But that's just my 2 cents on that. But if you guys did enjoy this video, man, make sure you let me know what you think about it in the comment section. You know what I mean? I'm open to all. If you agree or disagree, let me know why. And you might be schooling me to something on why you agree or disagree. You know what I mean? But like I was saying, if you enjoyed this video, do me a big favor, man. Smash that thumbs up button. Also, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. And when you subscribe, click that post notification bell where you be notified every time I upload, man. Because just like the Chiefs trying to do this year, I got these videos coming back to back. Y'all don't want to miss nothing. Stay tuned, man. I'll see y'all in this video. Peace.